Aloha, everyone. I'm Ifra, and I'm the co-founder of Clubba, a new type of virtual after-school activity for kids led by club counselors. Clubba is solving a problem. Kids are in school, working for hours, and they're isolated. When class is finally out, they want to do something fun. Current online offerings are boring and classroom-styled, and kids also start killing hours on TikTok and video games after school. There's not a social future-forward option for parents to choose from, and it's frustrating. That's where Clubba comes into play. We provide online edutainment. We're a platform for kids to explore and socialize after school or on the weekend with future-forward clubs. Through Clubba, kids develop relevant skills, they expand their exposure beyond the typical class or after-school activity in a fun way. Here's how Clubba works. We have after-school and weekend clubs. They meet 1 to 2 times a week in our proprietary video app. The same group of kids are in each club, and there's also movement exercises and icebreaker pop-ups in each session. Once a club is over, kids unlock a higher level of the same club with the same counselor to continue learning more skills. Here's what our streamlined vetting process looks like for our club counselors who are college students. They go through an application process. They have to submit a curriculum for the club and can even create a brand new club. They do an interview, they participate in a training session, and they can start gaining clients and teaching clubs. We even have a referral program for them to recruit their own customers. We have different counselors from around the nation. We keep it diverse with recruiting students with different skills from different locations and also from a variety of universities. Our clubs are different. Clubba stays away from the generic activity you can find an instructor for on a bulletin board at your local coffee shop. We focus on extraordinary clubs that have a strong focus on skill sets or relevant themes that kids need and want to be exposed to. We're camp-like and we keep it fun. Virtual learning is a $350 billion market, and there's a market in the virtual learning space, which is the after-school industry that's been neglected, and it's worth over $22 billion with no big players. That's the market we're going after. Our competitors are classroom-based and lecture-based. They are used as a replacement of classes and by many homeschoolers, and we differentiate our product by being an interactive and social offering. We're that switch from learning to play, and that's what makes us unique in the after-school market. We have strong key differentiators. We have a large qualified set of supply of club counselors, a target niche group of 6 to 12-year-olds, live and trending club experiences, recurring and on-demand options, intimate groups, and Clubba-owned curriculums. We also have a proven scalable go-to-market strategy. To attract demand, we use aggregated school newsletter partners and online ads. And to attract supply, we use career portals and job posting sites. It makes our cost to acquire students below $1, and our cost to acquire demand is $150, with a customer lifetime value of $600. We've launched an MVP in June and have had a beta out for 2 months now. Since then, we've generated over $30,000 in sales in the first 2 months of the MVP, with an average order value of $300. And we've sold over 1,000 sessions on Clubba since June. How we make money is we charge $240 to $360 per club based on the number of sessions. Our net margins are 50 to 80%. This margin grows based on the number of kids per club, and we're also testing out a monthly and yearly subscription model. We have a winning team with previous experience in the industry. I've been in the babysitting tech industry with my previous startup, USIT, where in just one city within 2.5 years, we made over $1 million in revenue. Connor is the co-founder and CTO and previously founded Spirit, an ed tech company with about 10,000 active users per month. We recently welcomed Google for Startups in our company as an anchor investor, and we've raised $125,000 of our $500,000 round. We're looking to close our round in the next few months, which will give us a 12-month runway and allow us to reach $100,000 a month in gross revenue, which is 500 purchases per month, as we build our product out with more growth drivers and retention boosters. Thank you for listening, and I'll open it up for questions.
All right. Ifra, thank you very much. And we'll invite our panel back on here again to ask you some questions. I see Rebecca. Maybe we can start with you.
Okay, hi. Where are you located that you're having a hurricane? That's terrible.
We're in Atlanta, Georgia. So we switched a couple of times to get the best
Oh, wow.
weather.
Aren't you supposed to have a big hurricane party about now, though? That's what my friends from Louisiana always told me.
We had one, I know we had one yesterday, and now like all the lighting is still out and everything's done. So
Well, hopefully it's back soon. So great presentation. This is a space we've been looking really deeply in. And I think you really nailed the model, to be honest. I mean, we looked at OutSchool and I had my kids try it. And the number one issue they had with it was no continuity, right? And so it was sort of a one and done type of thing. And after you sort of said, hey, here's who I am, the thing was done. And they really want that friend kind of ecosystem as well. That's what they're really lacking right now. So I love the model. I had questions around how you set the price points. The price point of $300 is really impressive, especially for the segment. I mean, how are you thinking about that price point, and then how does that fluctuate going forward?
yeah, so we sell clubs based on like 8 or 12 sessions. So if they buy an 8-session or 12-session club, it's $30 a session. And our upsell is that it's small groups of 5. And what OutSchool doesn't do is they have like classes up to 30 kids. So we keep it small and interactive.
And have you seen continuity, like people sign up, like continue to sign up for that same club over time?
Yeah, definitely. So we've seen people buy the sessions, and then what we're doing for the next round of clubs is adding a level 2 of that same club. So we've seen people request those level 2s already, even while their club is still going on.
Very impressive.
We'll give your kids free club session so you can try it out.
Thank you. We can sign them up. Don't worry. Thank you.
Thank you. Cool.
How long do the sessions go for?
They're an hour long. So each session is an hour. 1 to 2 times a week is what we've seen isn't overwhelming for the kid or the parent. We also have a summer model where it's summer camp styled, which is 2 hours a day for a week.
Okay. And how you said your customer acquisition cost for the student is $150?
For the parent.
Yeah, but I mean it's for the kid. I mean it's not for the teacher, it's for the kid. Yeah, I mean my only comment to you is I think that will probably come down over time. It does, it feels expensive a little bit right now. I sort of think both your CAC and what you're charging for those sessions. If I think about, it's what, $20 a session or something for the kid. You're appealing to a demographic that is, at the higher end, which there's nothing wrong with that. But I would encourage you to think about what you can do to bring that down, because it does feel like that model feels weighty to me.
Yeah. The only thing on that, Heidi, I totally agree with you 100%. The thing in ed tech, though, it's really interesting is that's the only demographic that will pay. And so it's a funny price point, right? And so, there's like a break in the elasticity of pricing there. So, I don't know. I mean, it might be the right bucket. I don't know, but it is pricey. I do agree that it's pricey.
So is the content proprietary? And if so, who owns it? Is it you, or is it actually the counselor?
Yeah, the content is all Clubba owned. So the counselors are making the curriculum, and Clubba owns all of their curriculums. And we also have proprietary video technology. So it's all through Clubba's own, video system through Twilio's API. So we can do a lot with that as well.
Good.
So aloha, everyone. I'm Alex Shaw, founder of Energy 311, based in California, the Sun Belt state. I think we all understand the benefit of solar for residential, and I'm sure many of you have homes that have solar and drive EV cars. I think Hank went even one step further than most of us and even bought a solar storage company. But today I'm going to be presenting a business solution that helps commercial property owners monetize their rooftops as well. So what is Energy 311? Energy 311, concisely, is a billing service that enables commercial property owners to sell solar power to their tenants. Residential solar has been around for 20 years and is a mature market with $2.5 million homes, 2.5 million homes. With commercial properties, tenants pay directly for electricity, so there's little incentive for the property owner to install solar. Our research has found a large untapped market of 7 million commercial buildings with ideal rooftop that aren't taking advantage of the benefit of going green. And that's how we see on the left side, you see a bunch of homes with solar on it. On the right side, a lot of like strip malls, for example, don't have any solar on them. So how does E3 help? Energy 311 helps commercial property owners with this greenfield opportunity to become their own power plant. First, we use partners to install solar in the meters. Second, we use our patent-pending billing technology to bill tenants for electricity. And finally, third, we collect payments and send the profits back to the owner. We really want the owners to become their own mini utility. How do we do that? One thing we do is we create a very credible bill that mirrors the local utility bill to the penny with the same time of use, demand, meter charges, and usage charges. We mitigate risk by tracking rates carefully over the course of the 20 years of the solar panels and passing those rates onto the tenants. We collect payments, and then we leverage partners to help with the install and the financing of the project. We really want to create a long-term relationship with the property owner. Energy 311 wants to change this way that solar is sold today with the residential side. Residential, it's like they buy a home, they're on to the next home, right? It's this one and done sale. Our solution makes solar a very durable investment, protecting the energy arbitrage and passing fluctuations in grid fees to the tenant. And especially now during COVID times, it's also important to keep in mind, tenants are going to pay for their electricity before they pay for the rent. Let's give a story. Our best customer story to date is Chiquita Banana. They lease a cold storage warehouse in Oxnard, California. But a year ago, they were faced with a $1.2 million re-roof project and were considering leaving the building. The owner, Rob Ross, kind of was panicking a bit, and he had to get clever. With the help of Energy 311, Rob ended up cutting a great deal for Chiquita. The re-roof would be paid for by Rob in exchange for a 10-year agreement where Chiquita would buy power at market rate. So Rob Ross ended up investing $2 million in solar. That resulted in $420,000 of additional new energy profits. The building value also, based on that 420, increased by over $6 million. Typical payback on solar is 5 years for residential. But in this case, it was less than 1 year because Rob ended up refinancing the building off the new revenue and was able to pay for that installation. What's our go-to-market strategy? Well, our early adopters are going to be private equity firms and REITs that own hundreds of properties. Those that own, properties in industrial, manufacturing, strip malls, medical, etc. Next year, we plan to leverage commercial real estate agents as well as solar installers and clean financing companies. We already have tremendous interest from our solar channel partners that are using Energy 311 to differentiate themselves on projects, whereas right now, often they're only differentiating based on price. Our business model is quite simple. We have 3 different places where we can make money. The first is just a research proposal. It's very kind of standard industry practice for construction projects to pay $5,000, $10,000 for the proposal up front. Afterwards, after the solar construction is completed, we have agreements with our solar developer partners to kick back 3 to 5% of the project, which will give us another $75,000 to $100,000 of revenue right at project completion. And after install, we switch to a SaaS model where we make 3 cents per kilowatt build, or about $30,000 a year on a typical building. So let's look at the revenue projections. As I mentioned before, we're really focused on direct sales in the first year. So for 2020 and 2021, we're basing our sales on private equity firms. After we get the kind of ball rolling, we get a lot of case studies, and we have some marketing fine tuning. We expect solar developer partners to bring the bulk of the business and accelerate our product adoption in 2022 and 2023. So we're asking for $1 million raise. I believe strongly that that's something we're going to do in Q2 of 2021. Right now, between now and the end of the year, we're trying to take advantage of and maximize the amount of traction we can get as solar credits are changing at the end of the year. And so the real big ask for this group is, I'd love to have the opportunity to talk to your people in your Rolodex that own commercial real estate. We're also trying to beef up our advisory team. So anyone that has experience with commercial real estate and also energy sector would be great additions to the company. All right, thank you, and I look forward to questions.
Awesome. Thank you, Alex. All right. So we're going to invite our panel back on stage to ask some hard questions of Alex. So
I may have some hard answers.
You're going to have some hard answers, some hard questions. Okay, I'm going to duck out so there's enough room for everybody to jump on.
I'm getting better at jumping on. Alex, it's a great presentation. It makes so much sense. It's kind of one of those where I sit here and I go, why hasn't this already happened? It's like Solar City's old news. So, Solar City for commercial, like why hasn't that happened? So I guess that's one of the questions for you is why hasn't it happened? Is it also are there particular buildings like the strip mall, the low flat buildings that are more appropriate? And is it single tenant or can you meter out multi-tenant space?
Well, our solution's really for the situation where you have a property owner and either one tenant, like I gave in that Chiquita Bananas story, or you have several tenants, right? There's no limit on the number of tenants I can support. So there's no question there. I think you also asked, why isn't the adoption there? I asked myself the same question. There's so many great incentives, just like everyone understands it innately because they've been pitched for their own home, right? And I think when you talk to property owners, what they say is, we've had like 5 or 6 solar developers come here, and the problem is that the solar developers come with this 25-page monstrosity of a document that tries to show all the energy usage and how they're, they don't understand the basic bottom line economics of how to sell a commercial property. Right? You have to sell them on IRR. You have to sell them on cash, and there's a failure. Literally. I've had my guy I'm talking to right now at IRA Capital. He's literally talked to 6 solar developers who couldn't persuade him that it was a good idea, and which is a combination of things. They also have this thing called, I didn't want to get this too much in the weeds in the presentation, but they have this thing called a power purchase agreement, which I'm sure everyone has heard of as well. And a power purchase agreement would be between the property owner and the tenant. It's a very heavy-handed way of solving things, right? You're asking the tenant to sign a long-term contract for power at a very fixed rate, which puts a lot of risk into the deal, but puts a lot of risk actually on the property owner. If energy rates goes up and the fixed rate starts matching the energy rate, they're losing money. So what, doing it with the software solution and having a very simple contract that you don't have to sign. It's just, it's the kind of solution that really the market is ready for. Yeah.
So quick piece of advice. There's a venture firm called RET Ventures, R-E-T Ventures, which stands for Real Estate Technology Ventures. It's actually all the LPs are REITs.
Okay.
And a lot of them are multifamily, which is why I asked. There are apartments in multifamily. So I don't know if it's appropriate to multifamily, but they're a super interesting venture fund. And if you want to send me something, a tickler to send them, I'm happy to send it to them because they do earlier stage than we do, and I think they would be right up your alley.
Yeah, we can talk offline. There are very specific reasons why I'm focused on like commercial, industrial, and the strip malls and whatnot. Yeah, it's just it's like where can you win the market, right? With a small
they may know the right investor for you. Because again, I think there's some super interesting corporate conglomerate investor groups that put together venture funds that specifically invest in things that they ultimately super understand because they're the customer. And so RET Ventures might not be perfect, but one thing I've learned about the REIT space is all these guys know each other, right?
I think we can scale very quickly. It's the same thing in the private equity space. The guys who do private equity real estate, they all know each other. Yeah. So it's the word's going to get around fast.
So obviously commercial real estate has been hit really hard. since COVID. How are you looking at navigating the initial conversion, given how depressed the sector is?
No, that's a great question. You know, I'll give you a story here. You know, the guys who own strip malls, you know, and the guys who are trying to like buy this type of property and sell them within a few years. They're trying to you know, get better quality tenants or get more tenants in the building and sell the building, right? They're trying to get revenue up. What are they really trying to do? They're trying to get revenue up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the bar from a few years ago, you would have to have like a 15% IRR or something pretty high for them to even greenlight a project, because, you know, their buildings were doing so well. Now the buildings are doing like 8%. I mean, I won't name any names or say any particular buildings, but, you know, the buildings aren't, you know, 25% of the, you know, in the retail, 25% of your tenants may not be paying the rent right now. So how do you get that? How do you get that revenue up? And here's a very, very solid and durable way to get revenue up. But you're saying, let's use that unutilized roof, right? Your tenants are already paying for electricity. They're going to pay for electricity before they pay their rent. And here's a way that, you know, it's exciting because there's a way to increase building revenue with just what you have, right? And there's no what I'm trying to say, you know, it's the you know, we can clearly jump over this very low bar now that are in these buildings in terms of, you know, because the buildings are not performing as well as they should be.
And you think
Does that make sense?
Your payback rate is going to hold for all your other properties?
Well, I mean, it's case by case basis, right? So that's why I'm very focused, and I think I might have mentioned it in the presentation. I'm very focused on Southern California, and I'm very focused on Hawaii, because that's where the payback rates are the highest, right? There are certainly places in the country where, like Alabama, it's just not, it doesn't pencil out. But on a case by basis, when you pencil out, you'll see the numbers.
Good stuff.
Yeah, very good. A couple of questions. One is, you had mentioned that the credits or the incentives kind of rolling off by end of year. How is that working for you?
Yes.
And maybe I didn't hear that right. There was like I thought they were continuing on. Is there like a sort of a needle you're trying to thread?
Quick answer is basically it's ratcheting. So it's at 26%. The federal tax credit is 26%. Nothing's changing with depreciation or accelerated depreciation or bonus depreciation. So that's going from 26% to 22%, which is not a big fall, but that's enough to like at least tell a story to a customer and say, look, let's do something this year before the end of the year, because you're going to get this extra 4%.
Yeah.
And
great. And
plus, we don't know. I mean, you know, as you all know, like, you know, the current administration, you know, we'll see what happens. I don't want to say anything. I don't want to.
We will see what happens.
Exactly.
Thank you for Alex. Great presentation. I've been told to wrap it up now. I had more for you, but we'll call it there.
We'll certainly follow up later. Thank you. Bye.
So hi, I'm Lauren Roth-Benu. I am the founder and CEO of 3R Water. We are a climate technology company aiming to build water security and resiliency. Specifically, 3R Water enables cities to respond to climate change through our mobile and data platform that collects stormwater metrics and supports property owners to reduce flooding and pollution. So the bottom line is, cities across the globe are basically dealing with an undersized drainage network. With more and more people and more intense storm events, we're seeing increased flooding, more pollution in our waterways, and even impacting our future water supply, since there's less green space for this rainwater to infiltrate into the ground. So to address this, cities across the globe are racing to be able to retrofit their infrastructure, and they need revenue streams to do this. So one of the ways they're doing this is through what are called stormwater utilities. A stormwater utility, in essence, imposes a fee onto all properties based on the amount of impervious area. That's things like roofs, roads, and parking lots. And importantly, then incentivizes a decentralized approach to capture stormwater on property and infiltrate it into the ground. There are over 2,000 plus of these stormwater utilities across the United States alone, as shown in this map, and also growing in 9 countries. However, through our customer discovery process, we discovered that there are 4 reoccurring pain points occurring with these stormwater agencies, mostly lacking to the fact that they don't have technological tools. They are still using paper-based systems or using antiquated softwares that are really cumbersome to use. So our solution is our patented follow-the-drop mobile and data platform. It is the first mobile application on the market to meet all of these stormwater utility needs, while also serving as a bottom-up and top-down solution to stormwater management. In essence, Follow the Drop connects to the city rain sensor network and converts that data into stormwater runoff. It then becomes a bottom-up tool by allowing property owners to identify where and how much stormwater is being generated. It provides optimum sizing and types of solution to capture that rainwater, and allows those property owners to submit their project to these cities for a fee credit, rebate, or grant. And then on the back end, the cities review these projects and can track the location, status, and volumes of stormwater being captured, which gives them easy compliance reporting methods as well as stormwater metrics. So the way that it works is Follow the Drop is an enterprise software. We have a subscription-based business model. We license the software to these stormwater utility agencies. They then can distribute it then to property owners to where they can input data into the mobile app and submit projects for the city's review for potential fee credit or rebate. We then provide ongoing data management services to allow that ease of reporting to meet federal compliance as well as meeting sustainability metrics. So why us? I personally have over 40 years in the water sector, specifically with private and public clients in the sustainable development space. And King & Gilbert, he is our software development advisor and has over 20 years experience as well, but in the software and marketing space, and he helped to actualize the first MVP. So our go-to-market strategy is really to leverage my network in the water sector and specifically target cities with these stormwater utilities, as well as active incentive programs and those that are creating resiliency plans. We offered a pilot program to be able to customize our software to best match those city programs. And then once we're in, we start our business model and lock in a 1 to 5 year subscription based on their procurement. We are also targeting sales partners that have direct access to these utilities, as well as those that have access to these city mayors. So really our competition is status quo. Most of these cities are still operating on very difficult to use clunky Excel spreadsheets. There are a few companies out there, but they are professionally based and do not offer all of the services that 3R Water does. But our real competitive advantage is that we are an easy to use tool, not just for the stormwater agencies, but also for the property owners. And we also support these cities' billing systems. So the global stormwater technology market is estimated to be around $11 billion and growing at a rate about 9% per year because of climate change. The addressable market is these stormwater utilities, particularly in the United States, at a market size about 250 million, and we're targeting about 10% of that over the next 5 years. So we do have revenue. We have secured a contract with the City and County of Honolulu in 2020. We have also submitted fees for next year with the Honolulu. We are currently scoping out a scope of another pilot with Auckland, and we aim to have 3 cities by next year. In 2 years, we are aiming for 15 cities with an annual reoccurring revenue of 3.8 million. And then by 2023, jumping up to 25 million in sales with 50 cities as we enter into a potentially new market that we've discovered for professionals in architecture and engineering. So our ask is $750,000, but most importantly, we are seeking aligned, smart investors that can really help to propel the momentum we've already gained to get to those 15 cities in 2 years. And we are also seeking advisors with city and government connections, both in the United States and abroad, really to, again, propel us and expand us into this market. I thank you very much, and I'll look forward to any questions.
Thank you, Lauren. And I'm going to ask my panel to come back on stage if they can hit their mic and cameras so they can come back and ask you some tough questions. We'll give them a minute to come in here, but I think you did a great job. I see Jocelyn, so we'll start with you. Jocelyn, what question do you have for Lauren?
Well, Lauren, congratulations.
Thank you.
Love your mission. You know, when you attack these kind of vertical markets that are kind of unsexy, not very well known, the founder market fit becomes really, really key. So I'd love to understand better what your unfair advantage is in going after these markets.
Sure, no, great question. So as I alluded to, I've actually mostly in the integrated water resource space. So that's everything from potable water, stormwater, wastewater, and have been part of really a global network of folks that are not just professionals such as myself in the architecture engineering space, but really those within city agencies. And I've had the privilege to have been, for example, on the Water Environment Leadership Group, which is our huge national organization, and I've been involved really for the last 10 years. So I've heard a lot of the pains. I've dealt with the pains on the side of trying to move projects forward, and I've also seen on the city side where they spend countless hours trying to do these compliance reporting. So we're really just hoping to come in there and streamline and make this process easier, so that it's really important now, especially with climate change coming into the picture. The urgency for these cities to start updating their infrastructure is now. So I feel like, having been in the sector, I have certainly seen the ins and outs and know that the timing is important today.
Great, thank you.
Question for me, what I'm trying to understand, I don't know this industry at all, so I'm just trying to understand kind of where the money leakage is, who makes money if this works besides you. And so is it the storm agencies, or is it the cities? Is it about compliance? Again, I'm just trying to understand the business model a little bit better.
Sure. No, absolutely. That's a great question. So to clarify, so what these stormwater utilities, they are city-run systems, city-run agencies. And they, what happens is they're putting out these utilities to get a dedicated fee specifically to upgrade the drainage infrastructure. Because right now, most cities, that's all been going through with property tax and getting into a general fund. So what this utility does, it creates basically a dedicated fund. Like this can be something like $90 million, for example, here in Honolulu as an operating budget. And then so with that, they use some of that funding both for CIP projects, but also for these incentive programs, because it's just cost prohibitive for these cities to upgrade their infrastructure to where they need to be. So they're trying to get property owners now to invest by implementing systems on their own sites to help deal with the overall problems. That's where we come in and support that initiative.
And just to push on that one more thing, the property owner does this because they're going to be fined if they don't do it?
So the property owner is going to get a monthly fee based off of the amount of impervious areas. So that's roofs, roads, and parking lots, right? So you can reduce your fee by implementing these different projects. And if you're in a priority area, so that's the number one incentive. Okay. Once you get a project installed, your monthly fee goes down. The number two is if you're in a priority area, you might also be eligible for a fee credit, or if you're a commercial property, a grant. And so then this also then creates another incentive and a layer for these properties to implement.
Okay, great, thanks.
Yeah, yeah.
And I hope you can hear me okay. I'm actually at a coffee shop right now in Maui, so trying hard that you can hear me. So you have a phenomenal background for this. Let's just start there. A really impressive background. My key question is, how big of a company can you build in this space, and how big can this be at the end?
Yeah, that's a great question, Rebecca. So that's actually the key things I'm working on right now is building up the team. So with this existing program I have with the City and County of Honolulu, we're going to bring on a software engineer that we're going to bring on in-house. Before I had to outsource for our current version. And then with that, and also with the ask, we would be able to essentially bring in a CTO on top of the engineer, as well as potentially another salesperson to help me get back, different regions in the States. That's also has to be in the sector. So once I know how it's like to be a lean startup. So I want to be strategic and use money smartly. But I think that right now because we get a good push with these pilot projects, we have a decent amount of revenue to invest in the company. And as we get the next one on, we can continue to grow.
Impressive. Thank you so much. And there are actually venture firms that just invest in water, believe it or not. And I can send some of those to Chinoa afterwards if that's helpful.
Great. Thank you. Yes, that'd be great. All right. I don't know. I guess should I log off? Sounds like it. All right. Well, thank you.
Aloha, everyone. On a vacation to Belize, my co-founder and I witnessed heartbreaking poverty and environmental despair. We wished there was a way for our travel dollars to positively impact the local community. And it turns out that on that day, we weren't alone. 72% of millennial travelers, known as the generous generation, want their travel dollars to positively impact the communities they visit. However, of those that want to travel sustainably, a third find it difficult and half don't know how. Currently, travelers may resort to voluntourism to do good, which not everyone wants to do on their vacation, or suffer through what's known as traveler's guilt. They may also become frustrated by not knowing which charities or hotels are making a meaningful impact in communities, as they want to feel a human connection to place. Furthermore, hotels and tourism boards are challenged to adopt sustainable travel initiatives, especially during a time when COVID-19 has accelerated the need to rebuild responsibly. I'm Jessica Blotter, co-founder of Kind Traveler based in Los Angeles, and I also serve on the board of directors for the Center for Responsible Travel. Previous to Kind Traveler, I spent 10 years working with startup lifestyle magazines and grew a sales team through $20 million in advertising revenue. To make it easy for travelers, hotels, and tourism boards to participate in sustainable travel, we launched Kind Traveler as the first give and get hotel booking and media platform that empowers travelers to positively impact the communities they visit. You'll have the chance to learn about a local cause that's important to the community you are visiting. As an example, a $10 nightly donation to locally vetted Marine Mammal Care Center will provide exclusive rates and perks, unlocking a savings of $62. You'll also see the exact type of impact a $10 donation will make. We are solving problems on both the B2B and B2C side. Over this last year, we launched an innovative model for tourism boards that creates a destination-wide turnkey model for sustainable travel that creates meaningful impact in communities. We currently have active partnerships with Sonoma County Tourism and Tahoe South, and we just signed North Lake Tahoe Tourism last week. Our partnership with Sonoma has already created measurable impact. For hotels, we've created a turnkey model for community impact while providing a distribution channel to the conscious travel community. To date, we've received 216 signed contracts from hotels, charities, and tourism boards committed to our mission. For travelers, we're not only providing a way to make a positive impact, but we're also helping identify hotels committed to sustainability. As we face COVID-19, Kind Traveler is an essential tool for sustainable destination recovery. Our business model drives revenue through hotel activation and renewal fees through our tourism board program and travel agent commissions associated with every hotel booking. With the millennial audience shown to travel twice as much as other demos, along with a strong preference towards brands addressing sustainability, we'll be going after the $4.2 billion market of millennial leisure travelers who book hotels in the US over vacation rentals. We're expected to close 2020 at $475,000 in total revenue, and within 5 years, we can arrive at $13 million in revenue and donate almost $500,000 to charity. And so far, we've already donated $25,000 to charity, and here's a few examples of our impact. The way we will reach our milestones is by continuing to grow our tourism board partnerships that will help scale our hotel collection. Then we'll double down on digital marketing initiatives, since the millennial audience utilizes Google and social media search to plan their trip. We've already had significant traction as we've built a newsletter list of 200,000 subscribers and have a combined current audience reach of 20 million. We've also acquired $3.5 million in media value through PR efforts. When it comes to competition, Kind Traveler is the only hotel booking platform that empowers travelers to make a local community impact. We are seeking $750,000 to help us take our current sales and marketing team to full-time employees and reach our first milestone goal of $1.8 million. My co-founder, who is also a U.S. Air Force veteran from Hawaii, and I created a team that's equipped with travel industry veterans from Booking.com, U.S. Airways, and more. I hope that you will join the journey with us to empower travelers to do more than travel. Thank you.
Awesome, Jessica. Thank you so much. Again, we'll invite our panelists back in here to ask you some questions. I see them coming in now. I will exit stage left.
Jocelyn, you want to go first this time?
Jessica, great presentation. Can you speak a little bit more about how a partnership with the hotel works?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So hotels pay an activation fee of $2,000 and a renewal fee of $1,000 per year. So we invite the hotels to the platform, those hotels that are committed to sustainability, community impact, and wellness. And then we create a sustainable travel initiative that's unique for every hotel, utilizing charity partnerships within their neighborhood or destination. And oftentimes these hotels already have long-standing relationships with the charities. So the decision for the charities is a community-based decision. And then once the partnership is live on the site, we do a series of marketing activations to promote their sustainable travel initiative to our conscious travel community as a media channel.
Thank you.
Of course, thank you.
I'm just curious, why Tahoe South? I have a house there, so yeah.
Oh, that's great. You know, we had a lot of traction with Sonoma, and you know, it's a 3-hour drive, and especially during COVID, when most travel right now is within 3 to 5 hours from major cities. There's a lot of synergy with our marketing in that region, so it makes sense from a strategy perspective to create, I don't want to say start a fire because no pun, but create traction within a destination.
Yeah. Got it.
Yeah. I have a place in Sonoma. Yeah, fire is no joke. But we definitely need you in the house. I'll tell you. I mean, it's crazy here right now. And I think launching this in Hawaii, half the people here that are coming are from California anyway, so they probably will have some familiarity with those two places. My main question is the breakdown between your revenue and the donations. I mean, typically, do you see that those ratios flipped in these kind of models? I mean, how is that working? Like, what part is going to charities, and how is that working?
Yeah, so a $10 nightly donation from the traveler will unlock the exclusive rates and perks that we've negotiated with each hotel, and 100% of those donations go to charity. So there's no revenue on the charity side. It's a separate transaction essentially from the core booking.
I understand. And then your main revenue then is a subscription by the hotel?
Main revenue, it's a combination of the tourism board program. So the tourism boards will pay a fee depending on the size of the destination for a unique sustainable travel initiative that is addressing key issues within their destination. And they help invite the hotels and the charities to the platform. But for example, in Sonoma, because fire is an issue, land conservation is really important. So we partnered with the Sonoma Land Trust. Food poverty is also important. So we partnered with a food bank, as well as protecting the Russian River with the Russian River Keeper. So every destination has a unique set of assets that are important to protect, both in the environment and the community.
I'm Dalen Sonata, founder of Liquid Presentation. I spent over 10 years building liquor brands on the distributor and brand side of the business. We have automated the brand building process for the $260 billion liquor industry. And the largest liquor distributor in North America, Southern Glazers, a $19 billion company, believes we have by delivering a 5x increase in their sales with a pilot. This led to 2 long-term contracts for 2 of their states. We also garnered support from 4 of the top 5 global liquor producers. Some of the brands that they produce: Bacardi, Grey Goose, Absolute, and Crown. So here's how liquor brands actually are built. The brands, they have to go through a distributor, and that distributor sells to the bars and restaurants and tries to get onto that cocktail menu. Because the number one way liquor brands are actually built is through the bars and restaurants and getting that cocktail menu mentioned. Then that leads to product placements and purchases at the retail outlets. So here's the problem. It's a manual, painful cycle that I lived for over 10 years. So the distributor meets with the bar owner, gathers all the needs of the bar owner of what cocktails that's going to fit their needs. And then that distributor then sends out an email and messaging to all their brands and saying, these are the cocktails I need. And it's a back and forth process. And finally, the distributor puts together this presentation and then schedules a meeting with the bar owner again to go over the entire presentation. And if everything goes perfectly, then he closes a sale. That never happens. So the process is done again. It's a manual 3-week sales cycle, right? And one thing to note, there's 275,000 bars and restaurants, and this is from 2 weeks ago, so during COVID. And these bars and restaurants change their menu on average 2 times a year. Think about that. Mind-blowing, isn't it? The liquid presentation way. The rep goes into the account, closes his sale within minutes. And here's how it works. The distributor rep searches and selects specific cocktails on our patented platform that matches the needs of the bar owner. Our platform then auto-generates the entire professional beverage program on the spot. So it provides the bar owner the cost, the profitability. So how much is the bar actually going to make? And also sales forecasting. So they know, okay, based on this forecast, here's what I need to actually order. So he doesn't over order. Now, on top of that, there's an automated training guide for their bar staff. There's print and video. Next, the rep closes the sale. Here's our market. We have a $7 billion TAM, which is the global spirits marketing spend at bars and restaurants. Our SAM is a $1.8 billion in the US, which is the marketing spend at bar and restaurants. We will achieve 45 million in 5 years. This is how we get paid. The liquor brands will pay per cocktail menu placement, and the distributor will pay per state, per distributor, a one-time setup fee, as well as an annual maintenance fee. Here's a snapshot of our indirect competitors. The sole competitor we have is if the distributors decide to go with the status quo with a 3-week manual process. So currently, we're at 60,000 ARR. We're projecting to hit 45 million in 5 years. And here's how we're going to actually do it. We will target the top 3 liquor distributors in each state. And those distributors will be our conduit sales force with our brand contracts. So here's our team. You know about me. I have over 10 years of industry experience. Kit Kotick, he's a former CEO of Liquor.com that was acquired last year by Dotdash. Liquor.com currently has 10 million drinkers monthly, engages, and over 100,000 bartenders in the US. Julie Reiner, one of the world's most famous mixologists, 20 plus years in the industry, and she's a current bar owner in New York City as well, featured in many publications. We have Graham, a former Google data scientist. We have the largest liquor distributor in North America, Southern Glazers, a $19 billion company who believes in us. We need $500,000 to scale nationally and to achieve profitability. Thank you so much for your time. Looking forward to questions.
All right, Dalen. Thank you, Dalen. Awesome job. All right, let me get our panelists back up here to ask you some questions. Panelists, please join us on stage and ask away.
I got here first. I wish there were handouts. I'm ready for my cocktail.
Racing for the cocktail, Pauhana.
7 o'clock, so come on.
I was going to say the same thing. I'm like, the red drink.
Yeah, makes me want a cocktail. You know, I think, I mean, it's super interesting. You obviously know the business really well. It's not something that, you know, I have no knowledge about this except as a consumer walking into a bar looking at a menu. So, you know, my real question is TAM, yes, liquor industry is a big industry, but sort of your TAM as as this company and the defensibility of that. I presume the defensibility is like, I don't know anybody else who's serving in this same unique way. So you may be a very good defensible island. The question is just how big can the island be? Like, how big do you think this company can get eventually?
Yeah, eventually, that's a good point. So this is just the first step, because it's a huge opportunity and it's a dinosaur industry, heavily regulated, and they're finally doing a digital transformation for the liquor industry, right? So we fall right into that. But what we see as the huge part of it is the data information, the content, understanding, the drink trends that are happening, individual ingredients and categories, and we can be the predictor of that. Nielsen's plays that role in the chains and grocery store. People pay millions and millions of dollars for that information. But think about where actually brands are actually built, is built at the bars and restaurants getting on that cocktail menu. We have that information and no one else has it. People want to pay for that information before it gets in a chain store, because at the chain store, you already lost, right? So it's ahead of the market, and that's a very important role. And we can see this also at the 4-year mark. We can see it to transition into wine, which is another industry vertical. But that's, obviously further down the line. We need to pinpoint focus on cocktails. It's the hardest, because think about it. There's a lot of ingredients that go involved in it. Wine, right? There's tasting notes and regionality, but cocktails is very difficult to concentrate on.
Okay, thanks.
And I guess my question is, the go-to-market on the distributors, I think, was really interesting. What about the brands? Like, how do you go and get all those brands, the new brands, kind of rounded up?
Yeah, exactly. So the distributor is the pinpoint connection, because they have all the brand connections where it just funnels straight to us, and it saves them 3 weeks, of work. So they say it's a no-brainer for us. Let's connect you.
Yeah. So that is, I thought that was maybe more for the bar piece of it, but it's for the brands as well. Okay.
Right. Correct.
Okay.
Hi, Jocelyn.
Sorry, guys. Dylan, I'm going to have to sit this one out. I had some technical.
Yeah, no
I think
problem.
She the drink now, Dylan.
Yeah, I know. We'll serve it up. We have some good rum cocktails right now. So.
Good job. Nice work.
All right. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Right.
Thankfully, this is just a slide, but it goes to show just how devastating the effects of a software bug can be. The challenge is that a bug like this can be caused by just a simple spelling mistake or missed full stop in millions of lines of code. To solve this, companies build up thousands of tests to ensure their software doesn't have bugs. However, these tests take time to run, minutes to hours, if not days. Imagine if every single workday you had to wait for your computer to update. That's essentially what's happening to developers each and every day. And this delay is one of the major causes of developer frustration and attrition. It's the reason why developers are so good at table tennis and why I can no longer win, and why there are thousands of coffee shops in San Francisco. But for companies, this leads to delayed releases, which can mean annoyed users, bad reviews, reduced revenue, or just falling behind their competition. But there is a better way. We've shown with our beta customers that we can reduce this time. In one instance, reducing the time from 1.5 hours to under 20 minutes, which, if I do some quick maths, means that we can give back each developer over 1 hour a day, which, if we were to extrapolate over a year, would mean an extra 8 weeks of development time. Imagine how much more productive you could be if you had an extra 8 weeks a year. So the question is, how do we do this? And what we do is we monitor the changes being made by the developers. And then from those changes, we can determine the areas that are impacted. Then using machine learning, we can determine which tests need to be run for each change based on the likelihood of them finding a bug. Then we can run just that much smaller set of tests. So we work with the company's existing tests, no change required. We just add intelligence to the way that they run and reduce the time. So in this case, you can teach an old dog new tricks. And by prioritizing the tests in this way, we can cut down development time and help companies hit their deadlines and get to market faster. And there is a huge market for this. There are already 30 million developers, probably too many, and this is expected to grow to 45 million by 2030. And the markets we fit into, the DevOps tools, test automation, and cloud testing, are all $10 billion plus markets and all growing rapidly. So because of this, you must be thinking, there must be heaps of competitors out there. And there is, but that could be a good thing. Our competitors are either saying, rip and replace your existing tests and then build them with us. But this leads to the same problem. Or they're saying, run your tests in parallel, but this isn't always possible. So what we're seeing, and what's interesting to us, is that these companies have the same problems. So we can actually see them as potential partners and be used in our go-to-market strategy. So in the coming weeks, we're releasing our freemium plan, which any developer or tester can use. We want everyone to use our product, and the freemium plan is the way for AppSurify to become synonymous with intelligent software testing, the default tool that everyone uses. And our freemium plan will drive users to our enterprise plan with additional support, integrations, and unlimited usage. For our go-to-market, we are working with our existing integration and channel partners, in addition to some key influencers to help get the word out and push people towards our freemium and enterprise products. And we're already seeing some success. Just with my LinkedIn and through the Blue Startups network, we've managed to capture some impressive names in our funnel, with companies either showing solid initial interest or moving forward with proof of concepts. And with our team having 30 plus years of experience in the DevOps and test tools space, we know we can build this company to success. I've been talking about this exact challenge at conferences around the world and have built out multiple test teams. And Johnston has led sales teams at 2 acquired companies in the DevOps space. We are looking to raise $750K in order to build out product market fit for our freemium product, further develop our pipeline and existing leads, and start early marketing efforts. We are hoping to achieve $1 million ARR and profitability. Thank you so much for your time, and a big mahalo to the Blue team, especially Shanoa, Ashley, Matt, and Jeff. If you want to know more, please check out our website or reach out to us via email. Thanks again.
Awesome. Thank you, James. I'm going to invite off so that there will be enough room for everybody. So if I can ask you guys to come back on stage, that's great.
You can see our amazingly decorative window shades, blinds, rather than the Auckland skyline.
So I'll start. I mean, very interesting, and obviously you have a great background for this. Is there any, freemium models are always interesting because there may be hidden costs and, onboarding and all of that. When you think about this as a freemium model, how hard is it for the customer to get on board and start utilizing the product? And do you have any concerns about other, hidden costs, support costs, that sort of thing?
Yeah, so we actually have had concerns about that. It's the reason why I started with an enterprise product. The freemium plan is now to go essentially onto an on-premise solution that we then monitor, which will reduce our costs. We were seeing high costs of our cloud when we were actually hosting it ourselves. Mm-hmm. So this is going to be on-premise, essentially just 2 clicks to get going, and then to change the way they run their tests in the CI/CD from whatever command to just a command that says run test with AppSurify. So it's very simple to set up. We're making it essentially only 3 commands that they have access to, opposed to our enterprise plan, which has more integrations. So we've simplified it dramatically.
Great, thank you.
No problem.
Hi there, how are you? Great, again, a great pitch. The flow was really nice. Every time I had a question, that was like your next slide. So great work on that. And my main question is, you showed a bunch of pilot users, and I'd love to know more about that. How long have they used it for? How are they actually are adopting it internally? Is it 1 person? Is it 10 people? And then what's next after that pilot?
Yeah, so it's whole teams. And there are 3 pilots that we have up and running now where we're showing success. They've been using it for about 6 months. We had performance problems. We had performance problems at the start. We had to understand how to handle enterprise scale. But it is full teams now that are running it, that have been doing it for 6 months where we're stable.
And are they converting over to paid, or what's the situation there?
Yep, we have our first customer there going through the procurement now. We got sign off from the VP. We're just waiting for the procurement team to hopefully sign the checks in.
And then what is the price point when they sign that check?
We're looking at $30 a developer a month.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you guys.
Yeah, so James, I would echo, great presentation. I particularly like the way that you encapsulated the 8 weeks of benefits. I mean, that's something that everyone can relate to. I guess my question is, what do you think will be the biggest challenge to your ramp and growth over the next 12 months?
Yep. So I think getting the word out and spreading the word is actually going to be quite challenging. The test tools market is a large space with a lot of different players all using similar messaging. They're all saying we'll use AI or we'll speed up your testing. We're trying to say we'll work with your existing testing and make it smarter, but getting in front of the right people is going to be hard. That's part of the reason why we're sort of moving to this freemium plan and trying to target these influencers where they have like, a sphere of influence that will really help us get out there.
Right.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm Stefan Opsel, and I'm really excited to tell you about Rendezvous, a visual collaboration platform that helps remote teams work together more effectively, finish projects faster, and deliver better results. As most of us have found out recently, trying to collaborate online can be incredibly frustrating. Imagine you're Kathleen here. She's a product manager at a growing tech startup who leads a dynamic team of engineers, designers, and marketers. She starts her day scheduling a meeting with her head of engineering via email. Later, she sends a Slack message with a link to the Zoom call, where the two of them meet face-to-face before starting a screen share or opening a Google Doc in their Chrome browser. Remote workers like Kathleen are having to use 5, 10, or even more apps at once to perform the most basic parts of their jobs, and the result is chaos. Switching context as she goes from one app interface to another, and disorganization as she tries to track down links, files, and messages that are just scattered between multiple apps. It is impossible for her to stay organized and stay focused when she's constantly bouncing around between these single-purpose tools. So we decided to build a solution that consolidates her workflow into a single online platform, one that lets Kathleen do everything she needs in order to actually meet and work together with her team. With the ability to create permanent rooms for each project and real-time collaboration capabilities, Rendezvous lets her team spend more time actually being productive and less time just trying to manage their workflow. So what would Kathleen's day look like with Rendezvous? With built-in HD video chat, she starts her day directly in a Rendezvous workspace, and with just one click of a button, she can have a quick face-to-face video chat with her head of engineering. After catching up for a minute, the two of them can just minimize their video feeds and dive into the real work, like a real Google Doc, so they can collaborate and make updates to their project files in real time. And when the meeting's over, Kathleen can just leave. She can go to lunch or her next meeting without worrying about organizing files, sending out a new link for the next video call. And that's because Rendezvous lets her set up permanent workspaces for every project. It not only helps her stay organized, but it gives her the peace of mind knowing that she can just pick back up exactly where she left off last time. As her projects continue to grow in size and scope, Kathleen is able to zoom in and zoom out on Rendezvous' endless canvas, so she can visualize her entire project workflow from start to finish, all in the same app. We started building Rendezvous for a niche segment of the workforce that was remote workers, and now that niche segment has become the entire market. In North America alone, the collaboration tech market is nearing $40 billion, with product managers like Kathleen representing over $1.7 billion of market opportunity alone. And the market's not done. It grows pretty much minute by minute. With every day, we get more announcements that the largest companies in the world are shifting to permanent work from home solutions. We're well positioned to become a power in the collab tech market as the only solution right now that actually allows teams to collaborate, communicate, and visualize their entire project in the same app, all while integrating with popular apps like Google Docs, so you don't have to relearn new tech or interfaces. We're using a freemium subscription model on a pay-per-seat basis, and our go-to-market strategy is to target modern, dynamic team leaders like Kathleen, since they're not only early tech adopters, but they're most likely to introduce new technologies to the rest of their teams. We've released an early version of our product over the summer to a select group of really eager testers, and in just a few short months, our amazing beta testers have held thousands of meetings in Rendezvous and collaborated on average roughly 100 times per week. In mid-August, we started 2 pilots with the University of Hawaii and Chaminade University. And just this morning, we found out that we are winners of the Mozilla Fix the Internet Open Lab. We have a really talented team with deep technical and business expertise. Alberto Gonzalez, an award-winning PhD computer scientist whose AI-enabled visualization software is used by the Department of Defense and the NSA. And me, Stefan, I'm a former venture analyst at Sultan Ventures and Accelerate UH, and the former director of Cloud Honolulu. We're raising up to $750,000 and are really excited to put those funds to work immediately so we can scale out the software, expand our user base. If you'd like to invest or set up a meeting, please drop us a line at invest@rendezvous.io. And for everyone in the audience today, feel free to sign up on our website, check out the beta version of Rendezvous for yourself, and get a sneak peek before our public launch at the end of this year. On behalf of myself and the rest of the Rendezvous team, I just want to say thanks for watching, and hopefully we see you on the platform soon.
Awesome, Steph. Thank you very much. I'm going to invite our panelists back up here to ask you some questions, and I'm going to jump off.
Thank you, Trina. So I think everyone else is coming here very quickly. So Steph, I can't wait to try out Rendezvous on my own, or Rendezvous on my own. I love the name. I guess the key question I have is go to market. You know, you're solving a big problem, but you're also, another app that somebody needs to use and learn. How are you going to take this to market and really get people using this?
Yeah, it's a great question and something we've been kind of trying to solve from the start. It seems like once a week, a friend, relative, or advisor will send me a new app that on paper, when you're just reading it in TechCrunch, it sounds exactly like ours. It's collaboration, it's real time, it's multi-user. They use a lot of buzzwords, and we kind of fall into that trap too. But when you look at it, none of those apps are even remotely close. They're just like rehashed versions of Asana or something like that. And so, our plan is to really kind of refine our messaging so we can be extremely specific for those product managers and start there.
Hey, Steph. It's good to see you again.
Hey, Jocelyn.
Just following up on Rebecca's point. So what is the plan to reach, your target demographic right now?
Yeah, so we've been kind of doing work behind the scenes, getting ready for when we do that public launch. And so that involves like a lot of organic growth strategies, like kind of infiltrating is not the right word, but finding out where do these product managers talk and work and chat about what it is that they do. And so we've gotten into a lot of these communities. Once we launch, we can reach out to people there and ask them to demo it. And we kind of have that viral coefficient where it's a multi-user environment. So if we get one, we get a few. The next phase after that is more kind of organic growth things like trying to get on the top of Product Hunt and launch and things like that.
Thanks, Steph. I mean, you said it yourself. The problem is everything sounds the same, and the proof is in the actual usage. And so I don't have anything to add. I think those were great questions. I think that, I would just encourage you to figure out, is there some particular sector where this is such a great solution that you will get some evangelists going early in it? Because I do think you're gonna need that to rise above the noise.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's certainly a big market if you can get it.
Very big and growing a lot every day.
Yeah. Good job. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is David Summers. Thanks for giving me this opportunity today. Lead Roommate is a rental management platform for homeowners that recruits, evaluates, and incentivizes lead roommates who fill and manage rewards for rentals for rewards like a free month's rent or a big screen TV. High-end rentals often sit empty for months. Meanwhile, homeowners are stuck paying thousands in mortgage, taxes, and assessments. Waiting for a single renter at the $5,000 a month bracket can take 6 months in Chicago. Renting to roommates can cut that time down to 1. But renting to roommates sucks. They churn, they party, and they flake. The solution is Lead Roommate. Lead Roommate attracts, evaluates, and incentivizes a pool of trained roommates so the homeowner can quickly find someone they trust. Our Lead Roommate locates tenants while living in and preserving the home. Our app simplifies day-to-day rental transactions and marketing. Let me walk you through our typical customer flow. First, our sales team finds a 3 to 4 bedroom rental on an aggregator site like apartments.com with rent between $5,000 and $9,000 a month. He calls up the homeowner or their sales agent and pitches the concept of paying us about half a month's carrying cost for saving them 5 months of time on the market. Following a link from an influencer site, a 25 to 35-year-old prospective lead roommate, typically a graduate student or a young professional, comes to our site, views the rental advertisement, and registers to be a lead roommate. Next, we work with the prospective lead roommate to polish their lead roommate credentials. They prove their identity, demonstrate their trustworthiness, and learn about managing roommates. The homeowner and lead roommate then work out any details and sign a lease agreement. With homeowner input and our help creating ads on Craigslist, roommate.com, and Roomie, the lead roommate finds other roommates to fill the house. With the homeowner and lead roommate's feedback, we track the progress of the apartment and award points to the lead roommate and other roommates for achieving goals on metrics like paying rent on time and having no complaints. Finally, the happy tenants redeem their points for great awards like a free month's rent, a widescreen TV, or a Starbucks coffee. We have over 100 lead roommates that love us because they get to live in a great home with lower rent and be rewarded for what they were going to do anyway. They demonstrate their love numerically with a $25 CAC. Homeowners love us. We stop their losses by filling homes quickly while requiring less effort on their part. And they get reliable tenants instead of the luck of the draw. They demonstrate their love numerically with a 75% listing close rate. We make our money as the homeowner pays us a subscription of $400 a month for the incentive program platform and app features like background credit checks and automatic payments. $150 of that subscription is reserved for later award fulfillment, leaving a gross profit of $250 per home. Nationally, there are 225,000 homes that meet our criteria. That's a $1 billion a year opportunity. Most of that is in the top 15 metro areas, which is a $734 million a year market. We're starting in Chicago, which is a $24 million a year opportunity for us. Chicago's a strong market because it has very long waits to fill these high-end units and because half our team is there. We reach our prospective lead roommates through referrals, Craigslist ads, and influencers, and we reach homeowners by contacting them using the information from their existing real estate advertisements. Our CAC per rental filled is $800, while their lifetime value is $4,800. Because of the extremely high lifetime value of our customers, we will see rapid growth, growing from $1 million a year in year 1 to $15 million a year in year 3. We focus our competitive efforts on target customer size and homeowner workload. Also, in the $5,000 a month rental bracket, homeowners are currently paying $5,000 for management plus $5,000 more to fill the rental, where our lead roommate performs most of those tasks for $400 per month. Our team combines many years of experience in building and marketing incentive programs with 2 successful exits, along with technical, artistic, and law backgrounds. We are pre-revenue and we are looking for $500,000 to provide us with a 12-month operating budget to reach 250 homes and $100,000 a month in recurring revenue. I look forward to having further discussions with all of you. Thanks.
All right, David, thank you very much. Again, we'll invite our panelists back onto the stage to ask you questions, and we'll take it from there.
I can go first. I guess we're all here. We're all like waiting. We're all being polite, right? I really like the concept. I actually see this happen a lot already in San Francisco, where one person will take the initiative and then round out the rest of the house, I guess. How are you? And I guess you're saving the money, saving the rent for the owner the money for doing that. How are you going about screening that lead roommate and then making sure that this become like the party house next door?
Right, that's an excellent
I've had that
question.
happen before to me.
Yeah, right. So we find the lead roommates by going to influencers and having the influencer talk about our site and then having people come and register with us. By choosing the influencer correctly, you can find an influencer that reaches more responsible people. And so that's the first step there. The second step is that we have this award system set up that really only incentivizes people if they are good roommates. There's actually a lot of good roommates out there, and they would preferentially self-select into our program because it really doesn't help you if you're not a good roommate. Whereas if you are a good roommate, you're going to get all this free stuff. So that's how we address that problem. Thank you.
David, how much interaction does the landlord have with the lead roommates?
So how much interaction does the landlord have with the lead roommate? That's a great question. It depends on the landlord. Some landlords are going to leave a lot of it up to the lead roommate. As people have said, that this actually does happen occasionally, sort of by random chance. And when it does, the homeowners tend to be very, very protective of their lead roommate because they kind of know that it happened by random chance. And so they will do almost anything to keep that lead roommate in there, which is one of the signs that we use to say that this was viable. So the amount of interaction really depends on how much interaction the homeowner wants. The lead roommate can perform things like inspections and things like that if that's what the homeowner wants. Or if the homeowner wants to be more hands-off, they can do that as well.
Is there any color around the turnover of lead roommates so far?
No, unfortunately, we have not had enough experience to know about the turnover yet.
And on average, in a given week, how much time does a lead roommate spend on maintaining their role here? It's certainly not a full-time job, but is it 5 hours a week?
So we haven't had enough experience to get good solid numbers on that. We expect that it's going to be on the order of 1 or 2 hours a month. That really you don't spend, it's sort of time you would have spent anyway. You're talking to your fellow roommates. So
how long does it take?
Thanks, David.
How long does it take the lead roommate to populate the other people?
So what we found in our testing is that it takes about a week to get a person to join. So if you have a 4-bedroom unit, for example, you'd expect it to take about 4 weeks. It does, depend on the market conditions, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
Well, thank you very much for your questions.
Thank you.